We brought Michael Schlecht up here for a big announcement. It's been 18 years since the number 10 has donned a RedHawks uniform number, and we haven't used that number since then, thanks to Josh Buckholz, who's kept that number hidden away for many, many years. Today is a very proud day in our organization. It's something that we've been waiting for many, many years, and we want to welcome Chris Coste back to the coaching staff and the Fargo-Moorhead RedHawks. What we're going to do is I'll have Michael say a few words, and he gets to introduce Christopher as his hitting coach, and we're looking forward to many more championships with Chris's help, and I want to thank you guys all for being here again, and I'll turn it over to Michael here.
Thank you.
All right.
So when this name came up as a possibility to wear the RedHawks uniform again, obviously for a new manager, for ownership, for the town, it was a no-brainer for us. Chris is somebody that exhibits unbelievable perseverance. I mean, you look at the story where he started in this uniform, the things that he's done, obviously going all the way and winning a championship in the big leagues. He is, in a sense, the poster boy of independent baseball. So when you begin to talk about players, bringing in players, learning in a RedHawks uniform, the type of culture, the type of people that we want around, there's nobody better to do this. And I'm absolutely thrilled to have him on staff, to be able to sit next to him in the dugout, talk baseball, go through this season and hopefully many more to come with him. Something that's important to me, something that's important to the RedHawks are, of course, the type of baseball mind that we want to have. Chris fits that wonderfully. The biggest thing for me is going to be somebody that's going to come alongside me during the games. Somebody that's going to have a deep understanding of baseball, of situations as they unfold, and his resume speaks for itself in that way. What I'm most excited about is the type of person that he is, the type of character that he's going to bring back to this uniform, and I'm very, very excited for this new chapter in RedHawks baseball. So I would like to introduce you guys, as you already know, to the new hitting coach of the RedHawks, Chris Coste.
Thanks, Michael.
Yep, of course. Thank you.
All right, I'll try to keep this somewhat short. The people that have heard me speak in the past know that once I get rambling on baseball in my career, that I can go on for a while. So I'll try to keep this somewhat short. But obviously, what the RedHawks and independent baseball specifically have meant to me is it's pretty simple. Without independent baseball and specifically the RedHawks, I'm not wearing a World Series ring. I'm not getting to the major leagues. I honestly have no idea where my life would lead. Maybe being at Concordia still, things like that. But without the RedHawks, the timing when the Thomes brought the RedHawks to town and gave me that opportunity back in December 1995, and then playing started in 1996. I've had a lot of impactful moments in my life and career, but the RedHawks, along with Concordia, are the two things in my life that have had the biggest impact on my life and career. And now to be able to continue to wear a Concordia uniform as the coach of Concordia, but now also wear a RedHawks uniform, for me is pretty amazing. So it took me 18, 19 years to come back. The timing for me actually right now works out pretty well. And then for me being a fit for the RedHawks, it works pretty well working with a guy like Michael, who is a pitching guy, will continue to run the pitching staff and allow me to have at least some flexibility, running some offense, and obviously being the hitting coach and providing hopefully a lot more than that, working with infielders, catchers, and then alongside Michael on occasion working with the pitcher-catcher relationship. Things like that. So the ability to say coach third base, but also put on a hit and run and a bunt. And obviously the buck stops with Michael. He's the boss. If he wants to bunt, we bunt. If he says not, we don't. If he leaves it up to me, then I'll make those decisions. But that's the beauty of the relationship that we'll have, is he'll allow me to do things the way that I want to do it usually. But once again, he's the boss. He's the guy that, we'll talk about things before the game, during the game, obviously a lot after the game, and are back to those long minor league bus rides again that I haven't been a part of for quite a while. So that'll be interesting as well. So once again, for me to be here back, and I got my 1998 Northern League championship ring, and even though it's maybe not quite as big as my World Series ring, for me this is every bit as special, because I remember that night in September of 1998, what that felt like to win that first title. And we all felt like major leaguers. It was a pretty cool moment. So for me to be back in a RedHawks uniform, I still prefer those pinstripes, to be honest with you. But to wear number 10 again is a pretty. It'll be pretty cool. So it won't affect my duties at Concordia at all. So for me, it's like the best of both worlds. In some ways, I almost feel once again like I won the lottery. When I first got to the major leagues, it felt like, I had won the lottery. And I have a very similar feeling now, even though it's 0 degrees outside, and our season's a long ways away. For me, today does feel like, once again, another milestone moment to a certain extent. So for me, it's a pretty exciting day. Yeah. Any questions or anything?
Welcome, Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah, with that,
thank
we'll
you.
open up for questions for anybody.
When did you kind of kick this around, or when did this start becoming a possibility?
Well, in my mind, I made the comment to the Thomes and Josh Buckholz many years ago. In fact, the day I signed and moved on and was signed by the Indians, I was like, one day I will wear this uniform one day. I was like, I want to be the GM one day. I want to take part ownership. And I was halfway joking, but at the same time, I knew at some point way back when I'd wear a RedHawks uniform again. For me, I've been thinking about the last several years, actually. The timing actually this year works perfect. When I retired from Major League Baseball, I really enjoyed my summers after that. It was the first time I really had summers to myself, and I had about 4 or 5 years in a row where I, spending summers at the lake. And after a while, last year, actually 2 summers ago, was the first time where it really hit me like, I'm not doing enough. I need, baseball-wise, I need to do more. I took the West Fargo Legion position, which was, believe me, not easy to give up that to do this, but at the same time, to not take advantage and not accept this opportunity would not have been very wise, So for me, it's been going on for a long time, but officially, like the last 6-7 weeks, we've been kind of kicking this around, and now it's official.
And I guess did Bucky Burgow give you some input on how it worked? Obviously, doing the Concordia head coach, assistant coach here.
Yes, I leaned on Bucky a lot, obviously. For the people that know me, Bucky's probably the biggest mentor I've ever had, So we talk about a lot of things, and he's like a father figure to me. And so we talked a lot about this, and some of the sacrifices I'd have to make, and the timing with Concordia, because there's a slight overlap, but not much. The timing actually works out pretty well, and it really shouldn't affect, for me, Concordia will always be first. That's just one of those things where Concordia for me it's my year-round home and things like that, but at the same time, being able to be with the RedHawks won't take anything away from them. But yes, I talked with Bucky this morning and yesterday and the day before that about these specific things, and when I leave here, I'm sure I'll be calling Bucky and talking more about it.
Chris, to have now Michael a pitcher, yourself a catcher, how much do you think that could be an advantage in the dugout each game?
Oh, it's huge. In sports, every sport has that 1 or 2 positions that are so integral to the success of a team. Your shortstop and center field are obviously important, but there's no more relationship more important in all of sports than that pitcher-catcher relationship. And so the fact that both of him and I are, we have that covered, it'll. For me, and guys like Michael and Bucky Burgow taught me this a long time ago, and that is the value of having good people around you, not just smart people, not just experienced, but people you can trust and lean on and things like that. And that's a relationship that Michael and I will have. Well, in game, being able to talk to somebody and have me available for him and vice versa to talk between innings, especially when that 6th, 7th inning rolls around, the value of a bunt, the value of knowing who to get up, and I'm sure he's going to lean on me a little bit, even though that'll be his call on getting guys warmed up. But a lot of times catchers, there's many times in the dugout when I was a catcher, the pitching coach would come up to me as a catcher and be like, what do you think? And I'd be like, hey, get Brad Lidge going, for example. So I'm sure there'll be a little bit of that. But, for me, there will be a little bit of learning curve because at this stage, I don't know. I've been to plenty of games, but I don't know the players like Michael does, the returners. And I'll do my best to get to know those returning players and also the incoming new players. But for me, there'll be a little bit of a learning curve as far as getting back to this level. You know, Concordia is really good baseball, but it's still not as fast-paced as what the RedHawks are.
How much of an appeal was to get to a pro level coaching and helping guide pro players?
Yes, for me, have been able to adapt to wherever I'm at. Like obviously being at Concordia, and then the West Fargo Legion obviously is a very different level than say the RedHawks. But at the same time, I want to be around good people who love the game. That for me, that's hugely important. It's hard for me to be in a baseball environment, which is why the last year at this time the West Fargo position was intriguing to me, because a lot of great baseball people in West Fargo, whether it's the board and the players. So for me, to be around an environment like this where every single day a game feels like a major league game, for me that's what's important. And Bruce and I just had this talk maybe 10 minutes ago, the value of every day that I show up here, I'm going to feel like I'm at a major league game. The intensity of coaching third base and seeing the fans and knowing how the season went last year when you miss out on the playoffs by one game. It really emphasized the value of every pitch, every out, every game, every run scored. And so me as a third base coach, every time I'm waving a guy in or holding him up, that might be the run that gets us into the playoffs or not. So that kind of intensity is one of the many reasons why I'm excited about this position.